Right, what I'm going to take you through is the C# Handbook Chapter 2. So you'll need your C# Handbook open on OneNote. Right, so the first thing we're going to look at is variables. So now variables are treated quite differently in C# as they are in Python, as you'll soon get used to. Now, what we have to do is declare variables, okay? So what we have to do is say, right, I want to store a number. I have to say, right, what data type it is, in this case integer, and then give the variable name. Now it can't begin with a number, so you have to explicitly say what it is. I could give it a value now. I can say equals 44. Okay, that's fine. Okay, and then I can do maths with it because it's a number. Age equals age plus 34. All right, or I can do age equals, age plus plus, and age minus minus. Now let's see what that's doing. Right, so that's declaring our variable there. That's adding 34 to 44. Okay, and then that's reducing it by 1, adding another 1 to it, and that's reducing it by 1. Now that line age plus plus could be written like this: age equals age plus 1. That's exactly the same as that line there. Okay, so you've got several things you can do like that. Now other things we've got to be aware of. Now when you declare an int, you put your mouse over it, it says represents a 32-bit signed integer. So this is where it knows, it could be minus. So we can certainly have a minus number there, and it's no problem at all. But there are other things. I mean, if you wanted to save some memory, instead of using 32 bits or 4 bytes, we could use 1 byte. And let's call this, and this would make sense for an age because it's not likely to be that big. So let's call this age 2. You can put numbers in it, but not as long as they don't begin with it. And let's say equals 50. Okay. Now, the underlined green there just means I haven't used it yet. All right. Actually, let's just get rid of it, and that's fine. Now, okay. So there we can see age 2. Now, put a mouse over there. It says represents an 8-bit unsigned integer. Right, 8-bit unsigned. So that means it can only be positive. All right, so if I put in minus 50 there, it should complain. Yep, it's gone, red underlined there. And also, because we all know a byte, if it's unsigned, the maximum value can be 255. It's going to, yeah, that's fine. If I make that 256, it's going to go, no. Okay, it's too much. Now it wouldn't capture that if I was like in a program and I had the age 2 as 255 and added 1 to it, like on that line there, then it wouldn't capture that. Okay, so you just got to be aware of that. Okay, now the other types I can use: string, name equals Dave. Okay. Char letter equals. Now notice the difference there. Okay, so a string is made up of characters, but you specify a string, a literal string there with double quotes, a character, one single character, single quotes there. Okay, so those are the main ones. Now obviously we want a decimal point, we use doubles. Okay, that stands for double precision floating point. So if I wanted, I'm trying to think of something with a fraction in, but someone's age 12.5, 12.4. Okay, you'd use a double. Now there are, oops, I need to give it a name. Pay rise percentage. I'll do. Okay. Right, that's now fine. Again, it's underlined in green because I haven't actually used them. Now, let's have a look at. And I'm going to use Word for this so I can copy and paste stuff from there. the console write line statement. Now, if I want to, so I've got Dave, the name there, and I've got the age there. Okay, so let's just get rid of all the other stuff. Now, if I want to display that, I can say, right, console dot write line. Now I know there is code snippets for this, but I'm not going to show you yet. Console write line. Let's just say name. Okay. Now run that. It should output Dave. Now if I put name in double quotes, notice it's going to output NAME, okay, the literal string. So if you don't put it in quotes there, now I'm going to show you a way of doing this. So let's say I wanted to actually output Dave's age is 44. Now this is the way that I think is the easiest way. So it's fairly, well, it's not that new. Right, so I'm going to put a $sign there. I'll explain what that is in a minute. So I'm going to say, well, what's the name of the person? Well, it's Dave. So I'm going to put that in braces. So if I start name, it notices expecting a variable there. Age is, oops. Right, I need to do this all into is age. Now, what's happening there is it's saying I'm going to display the variable name, then the is, that's in brown because it's a literal string, and then the other variable. Now this is a nice way of actually outputting it. All right, so if I put some more spaces there, I should do it. Let's just see what it does. Okay, Dave is -44. Okay, now let's make it positive. So age equals age times -1. Okay. Now, when it comes to, I want to add one to age, there is more than one way of doing that. Okay, I can do age plus plus. I can also do this age plus equals 10, which is equivalent to age equals age plus 10. Right? Now, so those two lines there are equivalent. Same. I actually kind of prefer that one. I think it's just more readable. That one is adding 1. That's equivalent to age equals age plus 1. So, but going back to the console write line, so if you want to do that, you have to use a $sign there. If I don't do the $sign, it's just going to output this. Okay, but by putting the $sign in there, it means everything in the curly braces is a variable. So if I get that wrong, nam should error out. There it goes. Okay, but you get the IntelliSense. So it should, if I start typing, it knows the variables that I've declared. All right. So that's a nice way of putting in variables next to some literal text or strings. So Dave is 65. So that's what happens to us after we've done all that math, as they say. Right. Okay. So now the console read line statement. Now I'm just going to copy and paste this to save a bit of time. So let's overwrite all of that. Now we've also already used console read line, but this is for its main purpose. Now I've declared 2 variables, or 3 actually, number 1, number 2, and sum. They're all integers. And then I'm saying this line here, number 1 equals convert.toInt32 console read line. Now what that's going to do is the program's going to do the first line, then it's going to do this line, it's going to wait for me to press enter. Now whatever I type in after enter will try and be converted to an integer, and if it is successfully, then the value will be stored in number 1. So if I run it, the program is running, it will stop on that line there. Well, it's actually there now. So if I type in 34, so number 1 now contains 34. It's now stopped again, and it's waiting for me to press another number, so 55 this time, and then it's doing the maths. So that's displaying it out. Okay, so we use a console read line, but then we need to convert it into an int32 because this returns back a string. Okay, now a string is made up of ASCII characters, and it needs to convert those into an integer. So then we do the maths there, so we're adding the two numbers up. So sum there, and then that's our output there. Now what that's crying out for is essentially what we've got on the next page here is, okay, I could have just done the 2 lines there, but it's quicker just to do the whole lot, is that. So really what we want is, that's more like it, points a number. Okay, so we have the console write line before we ask for the number. Remember, it waits, you press enter, whatever you've typed in will try and get converted and then get assigned to number 1. Okay, a little bit more there. Operator precedence. Now remember Bob Mass, if you're trying to do averages, make sure you're using brackets and things like that. Now it's just a couple more on these. You've got plus, minus, times, divide, it's integer division, and the percent sign is the remainder. All right, so if we did change that to percent, and we'll put, I'm going to put mod there because that's what it really is then. So let's try that again. So please enter a number, so we do 10, I think it's doing that, and 2. 10 mod 2 is 0 because 2 goes into 10 5 times with no remainder. If I change that to, well, run it again, and 11, 2 again, we get a remainder of 1. All right, so when you divide something by 2, it's going to go in exactly with no remainder or remainder of 1 if there is. Right, that would become helpful when we do binary to denary and stuff like that. Okay, I'm not even going to show you divide. Okay, then you've got some exercises, but that takes you through basically really how we declare variables, what we can do. I'll just quickly show you one more thing. Let's declare a string. I'll actually just do it like this. So console write line, enter your name, and this is an example where you can just say string name equals console.read. Okay, now I don't need to convert that because it's already a name. So here I can just say hello, whatever the name is. Okay, again, it's all nice because I don't have to remember, well, don't do too much typing, and then run that now. It's going to ask me for the name now, Ted. Okay, so there's a remainder 3 there. Hello, Ted. All right, so there we go.